What is going on, guys? I'm Tyler.
Hi, I'm Josh. I'm going to leave now. I'll come back.
You promised you were going to do this with me, man.
It took me 3 sessions to get through this damn movie. I don't get it.
Well, I sat through it on my phone as I was making myself breakfast.
I had to watch it on a 60-inch TV. I had to see everything.
You didn't have to. That was your decision to make. I could see everything that was on the phone the entire time.
Yeah.
Turning Red's no perfect movie.
Is it now?
No.
No, okay.
And you know how...
Cool intro here.
You know how sometimes people have that movie where when everybody loves it, they go, why they hate, and the people who don't like it just go, what is with the appeal people have for this?
I'm like 50-50 on it. If you watched our Josh and Tyler show, we previously discussed this briefly, because we're saving all our thoughts for this.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
I like a lot of the elements, but the rest just doesn't hit me.
Yeah, so for those who don't know, Turning Red is about a 13-year-old girl in Toronto of 2002 named May, played by Rosalie Chiang, who overnight discovers the hard way that when extremely stressed or excited, through her mom's side of the family, she can transform into a red panda. Yeah. And she's forced to choose loyalty over her incredibly strict and overprotective mother, played by Sandra Oh, who wants to suppress the
no, it's
panda.
Sandra Oh! That's how you say it.
Whatever,
There's an exclamation mark.
Thank you, Mr. Sandberg.
Mr. Grey's Anatomy.
So she's forced between choosing loyalty over her mother to try and suppress the panda the same way that she repressed her own, or choosing over her best friends who genuinely have her best interests at heart and want to help her control these powers. In a sense, I don't want to give too much away, but when you saw the trailers, did you have any anticipation for it?
Well, I'm a big fan of red pandas. I've gone to many zoos, and red pandas are adorable. I bought red panda stuffed animals. I like red pandas. I thought the idea of a girl turning into a talking red panda is a delight. But then my brain thought something, because I really like Soul, but then I thought it would get the same criticism that Jamie Foxx didn't get to voice the character, and he was like a cat half the time. I thought that might come up, but it didn't, so, you know.
That's valid. Those criticisms, I don't really think got in the way of Fox's performance. Because, like, he's still Joe.
The villain was the biggest problem with that movie. But I thought Turning Red looked fun. And when I saw it on Disney Plus, I said, hey, Ben, you want to watch an animated movie?
Of course you wrote Ben into this.
Yeah. And then about halfway through, we got bored and turned it off. And then I tried to finish it and restart it. And then I finally watched it all the way through, skimming the middle, because I watched that like twice, and then it ended, and it's okay. It's okay. I got some moments.
See, for the majority of the trailer, I had no anticipation for it, because it just seemed like a modern-day Disney version of Teen Wolf with some really, really lame comedy.
Oh, that's true.
Especially with, like, the genetic passed down from one generation to another, because Michael J. Fox discovers that his dad can also turn into a werewolf.
That's true.
But then, about midway through, the trailer made it clear that one of the themes of this movie, among many, was that it was going to be about embracing your positive and negative aspects of your personality, of your life, and learning to help them coexist. Which is pretty high and mighty coming from Disney lately.
But they did that decently, though. In this film, to their credit, they did have May balance her panda and her personality to a percentage, and they come to a head, so to speak. I don't want to spoil it here, and the resolution is okay.
I want to say yes to that, but there are some things where I don't really know if that was the
case. It's Pixar.
Case.
They can't go any deeper than You Have Feelings. You know that.
Yeah, but I mean, part of that issue is they try to go far beyond what Disney is even capable of in regards to things that they can or can't
Well,
talk
I mean,
about.
It's interesting how they start the movie off and address certain subjects, but then completely abandon those subjects and move on to other things because that's not relevant to the film anymore.
We're going to get to certain subjects later on, but...
I mean, I think it was honorable for them to try that, but then they just sort of abandon it.
Yeah, see, here's the thing. It tries to tackle some really dark and heavy subject matter, and I give them full credit for at least trying to, but there are certain topics where I felt like because it's Disney, they can't go all the way, and when they do try, it comes across as silly and mainly solely for the purpose of comic relief as opposed to actually exploring it. And when they do address certain dark subject matter, it's not examined, it's just mentioned, as if that's somehow actually impacts people's lives, when in reality, parents are going to have a lot of things they'll have to explain to their kids who may not even be old enough to understand certain topics, because that's the other thing. Pixar has had a relatively consistent streak of making G-rated movies that parents and adults can equally enjoy, whereas this one, it's PG, it's incredibly specific on which demographics they want to talk about and to talk to. And a lot of parents who just watch the trailers think it's a cute little Disney movie are going to be really thrown off by some of the things that happen.
I don't think so. It's not that crazy. It's pretty tame compared to most movies.
No, I didn't really see that. But, yeah, the whole embracing your positive and negative aspects, that was something that in the end made me want to give this movie a chance. And it probably wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but this is still an awkward and uncomfortable movie to sift through for a large portion of the film.
Every time the panda was on screen, I was happy. I liked the panda. That's what I was there for. Every time May was on screen, did not care. I was there for the pandas.
There's that about it, but this movie is directed by Domee Shi, who won an Oscar for directing Bao, the short that came before Incredibles 2.
I don't like that short.
Really?
I think it should not have won Best Oscar Animated Short.
No,
there were so many better shorts that year.
No fucking way. That is
Oh my goodness. The Bird on the Wire short is 1,000 times better, where the bird is walking through different periods of life. That should have been nominated over this any day.
No,
It's a Pixar thing. Oh no, a talking onion pierogi looking thing. Yay! You made friends.
Damn it.
I get it. You made friends with your food and then you eat it. I don't care.
That's not what it was about. It was about empty nest syndrome. It was about overprotective parenting, things that actually do get touched on in Turning Red. But in my opinion, Bao is one of, if not the best Pixar shorts I've ever seen. Both times I got super emotional. And Domee Shi is clearly incredibly talented at visual storytelling, and that gave me a little bit more faith when it came to the production value of this movie. And while the animation itself isn't technically bad, it features some qualities and some stylistic traits that I don't think really works that well in CGI, or at least just comes across as a little more distracting than actually immersing you in the experience. I don't know if you felt the same way.
Well, I felt like the movie was paced like a music video. I thought Turning Red was it was random spastic things that happened in 2002. I mean, it does have a boy band in there. The whole group of friends who are mostly one stereotype are like, we like this boy band. That's the thing they all do together.
And I swear to God,
angry, you've got quiet, but we'll do outbursts occasionally, and normal friend.
So, yeah, like...
they don't care. I don't care about that.
No, I'll rant with you on that one. But the animation tries to incorporate a lot of things that are consistent in anime, and even though that's Japanese culture, not Chinese culture, I do give Pixar credit for embracing a different type of style.
See, if they wanted to do anime, there's some really great animes out there, and there's some great ones to emulate. But I'm tired of the stupid little waifu girl with hearts in her eyes. I don't need that in my anime. It's not necessary. It's stupid.
They have hearts. They have hearts in their eyes. They have googly eyes whenever they are obsessed with certain boys. They have very tiny pupils and irises when they're extremely stressed out. They do the thing where they slide in and out of the frame in unison, and those techniques can be funny.
Family Guy did it better when they did the Japan episode.
Part of that is because, for one, Family Guy is in two-dimensional hand-drawn animation.
Yeah, it works well in two-dimensional.
Where you can suspend the disbelief. Because it's CGI and it technically looks a lot closer to reality, throwing in all of these fantastical elements actually comes across as more phony. And it doesn't help that... But this is a grounded movie. It's a grounded movie. It should be a small character piece without the loud moments. Especially because the stakes are so incredibly low. But they stylize everything. And fucking everything. There are anime fantasies when it comes to the boy band. Which, by the way, the boy band all look like Barbie dolls.
Yep.
I swear to God, like, the textures of their skin look even more fake than the other humans in this movie, and the humans themselves...
But I like the lights and the stage and the cheesiness of it. I think they're going for like a Backstreet Boys One Direction thing, and it's just
no,
that
it's
part
totally...
I actually enjoyed because I thought that was random.
No,
but it doesn't fit the movie.
It's
totally,
just sort of
random.
It is totally Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. I mean, 2002. What do you expect? But
yeah,
here's
they have
the thing.
a mix CD.
And they do have one song written by Billie Eilish's brother because he does play one of the Four Town guys. And it's a decent song, I'll give it that. But here's one thing about the animation, and this comes down to the character designs. Is it just me, or do the designs look more like they belong in stop motion than CGI?
Everyone looks like they have sausages for arms and limbs.
They have like
really
they have like
puffy lips and such.
Puffy lips and teeth, like they are claymation.
But,
like when they smile, they smile like Wallace from Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah, but Wallace and Gromit is claymation, so that's charming. This is a different medium. But
yeah,
I will
it reminded me of Flushed Away, where it looked like
forgot
stop
about
motion.
that movie.
It looked like stop motion, but it was CGI, and it still worked because the characters were animals. But these are supposed to be real-looking humans, where outside of Priya, the one other girl, nobody else looked all that convincing.
Okay, did the one girl, like the angry, like not the angry one, the one person who said very little but then got like randomly loud, did she not look like someone who was an extra in Encanto?
Kinda.
It's got that same style animation.
She had the glasses. She
and
had
the curly hair.
Glasses.
She's like she's just gonna sing "We Don't Talk About Bruno" or whatever
and
that
yes,
is.
people, we all know that she's of Indian heritage, not Colombian. But you get the point that we're trying.
She has the only character development for the Friends when she dances with an emo girl, MGK. You know, that's it.
I was more into the girl with braces, and I'll get more into that later.
I just don't get it.
The Korean kid, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking with the design, because she looks
Who is that?
Scary. The girl with the pink overalls.
Oh, the terrifyingly loud one.
Yes!
The minion of the movie. It's just a minion who makes butt jokes.
Tiny irises, tiny eyebrows, but a huge face. It does not look appealing. She has the appeal of a serial killer, and yeah.
And I get they're trying to go for it's awkward, it's puberty times, that's what they're trying to hit, but it's too awkward.
It's too upfront. There isn't a shred of subtlety when it comes to who these characters are and what they're supposed to represent.
If you do anything, it must be subtle. Looking at you, political movie, don't look up.
Exactly.
Be subtle. Subtlety is key. Space
exactly,
because
like the side friends are one personality. Priya is no emotion whatsoever. Abby, the Korean kid, is nothing but emotion, and Miriam, I think the kid with braces, is like the in between because she's the only voice of reason. And I do like Miriam as a character because she's the only intelligent,
the only normal person in the movie.
Yeah, which there was one thing I'm going to say, but that's not going to win me over anybody. I will say, when it comes to the animation, what does work is when Mei does turn into a panda. Because the textures, you can see every bit of fur or whisker on top of her. Yeah. Her teeth almost look photorealistic in regards to the fact that there's even a little bit of reflection.
And you can still see her face in the panda too, so they did a really good character transformation.
Yeah, they do a good job of putting human expressions and emotions onto her face and making it work. It was the one time where the anime stylized aspects of it actually made it relatable and actually move the story along forward.
So do you think she's related to Mulan, but like a Mulan panda? Because it felt like they were going for that type of ab.
I have absolutely no idea. I think the only real connection is that these are Chinese characters, or at least of Chinese origin. This does take place in Toronto 2002, and I do.
Yeah, they have Timbits in the movie. That's what makes it Canadian.
They have Timbits. They have a Daisy Mart in the background, which I never thought...
I remember the Triangle Discount. Y'all remember that? That was a thing.
Kind of. But
yeah, they were like around before Mac took them over or whatever.
There's that whole thing about Toronto where it doesn't matter where you are, you can see the CN Tower in clear sight. Little details like that make a decent enough difference. Some people have complained that it's not busy enough, which there are areas of Toronto where there really isn't that much traffic, and of course
everyone's so nice in this city, though. Have you noticed how kind everyone is to each other on the street? Like, no one's mean, and it's not busy, and no one's pushing and shoving, and it's like it's so empty.
The one bully is probably the only character outside of the mom and her family that are ever so close to being mean-spirited, and that is kind of a problem because despite the destruction and chaos and media attention that Mei gets when she turns into a panda,
Yeah, they don't really address
nobody
that.
seems to fucking care. Like, there's one moment where girls discover her, and they're fine with it
They're
for
like,
some
hey,
reason.
cool, my friend's a panda. Dope.
Which, look, the best friends discovering it, being freaked out, but also coming to an
Accepting it
understanding.
is really beautiful. It's a really nice moment.
And understanding that she's still the same person. That part was a great moment.
Yeah.
And it made me legitimately believe the chemistry. Because the nice thing I can say about the voice acting is that the four girls do legitimately sound like they are friends. And Rosalie Chiang, who plays Meilin, for a debut performance from... I don't know how old she was during the recording process. She's 16-year-old. She's 16 now, but...
Probably two. It takes about
She
a year
does
to
do a
animate a movie, probably
decent-
2 years to go.
Yeah,
Maybe
she
3.
does do a decent enough job, and she has to carry literally every scene within the film, which is hard for an adult to do, let alone a child, but performance-wise
Yeah,
is
she's really
one
good.
thing. She is really good. But I'd be lying if I said I cared that much about her character.
I like the panda.
The panda is fine. I mean, she learns how to be a panda ridiculously easy. Like, I would have loved to have seen her learn to walk on all fours or to avoid licking or scratching certain parts of your body. I'm not saying those specific parts. I mean just like your arm or your leg, because some animals do that. I don't know if red pandas
I mean,
do.
it's sort of like how at the end of A New Hope, you know, Luke was like, I can't use a lightsaber in the Force. And Empire Strikes Back, he's like, I pretty much figured it out. Yoda just fill in the gaps.
Yeah,
They just
it's,
jump there without even any... Yeah.
It's fill in the gap moments that I just can't stand. And on top of that, the movie's supposed to... The movie addresses, within the first 10 minutes, basically her entire characterization, that she's your average straight-A student who overachieves at just about everything. And that's all you find out. And,
Yeah, and then she freaks out and turns into a panda, because periods.
and that's when... Don't spoil it right away, man.
Pretty much it. That's the movie. It's in the trailer.
Yeah, but, like, here's what I wanted to know. There's that moment where she shows all of her straight A's to her mother, and I guess that was supposed to hint that maybe she's not that overachieving of a student because she has any aspirations or goals or has a specific job that she wants to do when she grows up, things that would actually flesh her out as a character. We have no idea if any of those things are true or if she's just working her ass off just to please her mother. And the fact that this is a young girl born with magical powers that she's struggling to control and being forced to choose over an abusive parent who has very self-centered motivations or between friends who have her genuine interests at heart, that's Lena from DuckTales. This character should have been right up my alley.
Her mother is
But-
the squirrel from Ice Age.
But we still don't really... That's the thing. We have no idea what she wants to grow up to be. We have no idea what subjects in school she excels at the most or what she's the most passionate about. And I know some DuckTales fans are going to say, well, what do we actually know about Lena as a person? What difference does this make? Here's the thing. We technically know less about Lena as a person. But because of how abusive the relationship between her and Magicka is, the fact that she is literally a creation of magic, not a human being who was born with magic abilities and conveniently was just never told about it, it creates this element of mystery that where not knowing anything about her actually makes her a lot more investing and unpredictable. And what we do learn about her is that because of how, again, neglectful and downright self-centered Magicka is as a parent, she legitimately believes that when anyone tries to offer her something compassionate or sincere, she thinks it's disingenuous because she's afraid of the possibility of failure and betrayal that'll come down the road. But then she meets people like Webby, like Violet, like Violet's fathers who took her in when really they didn't have to, or at least I think. The father's situation was something that I wanted more of, like everyone else, but she learned the hard way that if she was ever going to break free of Magicka, she was going to have to stand up for herself. She was going to have to be vocal. She was going to have to accept the possibility of failure, to accept the fact that some people don't want to help, and embrace and accept the people who will, and return the compassion onto her. Mei doesn't actually really do that up until the last 20 minutes, and there are opportunities, plenty of opportunities, where she actually could have rebelled against her mother and it wouldn't have affected the story, but she doesn't.
She won't even come home late to do extracurriculars at school. It's insane.
I mean, really.
Now I know,
dick,
when
right?
you went on that little rant there, now I know what it's like when I go on a rant, and you have no clue what I'm talking about, and you're just confused. Because I was confused.
Hey, man, I mean, I think you would like DuckTales as a show.
Probably. Have you seen the trailer for Chippendale Rescue Rangers? I don't know.
I'm
looks interesting.
I'm going into that as blindly as possible because I have no idea.
Watched this year back in the day. But no, I don't like the mother character. I just straight up, she's the squirrel.
Fucking hell.
Pretty much the mother is constantly on May's case because reasons. And she's like the squirrel from Ice Age. She has no personality. She's just there and does things and we're supposed to laugh.
Sandra Oh was fucking annoying as hell. The only nice thing I can say is that if I went into this movie blind, I wouldn't have guessed that it was Sandra Oh. She does disguise her voice well enough. I will give her that. But she's not a character. She's a collection of cliches that make no sense even in the cartoon world. She's one of those parents who is so overprotective that when she asks certain questions about someone's state of well-being before they can even answer, the minute they open their mouth, she answers her own fucking question, moves on, completely avoids any debate or discussion. She's one of those people who hides behind a tree all the fucking time, spying on someone.
That security guard is my hero.
And acts like she's the victim whenever she's told to piss off, which, by the way, there are security guards in schools? Is that
no, that's a thing now.
Is that a Toronto thing? Well,
all I know is...
This is 2002.
I think why they did that, and I think that choice is she's trying to separate the character from her real life, because the director's is based on her real life, so she doesn't want to criticize anything about her mother, so she made it as far from a human being as possible, and that makes it more unrelatable than ever.
Then you're being just as in denial as May is, which from a behind-the-scenes perspective...
Mom, so.
Yeah, but I mean... Then you're ignoring the lessons of your own movie. That's not a good sign, people. And
I like the panda.
Let's not fucking forget the moment, and this is a minor spoiler, but I don't fucking care. She seriously...
Like my Civic.
When she goes to school, May's mother, literally in front of the entire class, does something that no fucking parent would ever do.
Nope, this was not realistic.
She literally says in front of her entire classroom... Hey, you forgot your pads.
Yeah, no mother would do that.
I don't care how far in the south of the United States you are.
No, the mother would come in and say, hey, can I talk to my daughter real quick? Or something like that. And that would be it.
There are Karens getting arrested on YouTube that are more realistic than this.
You're fishing at a lake? You're not allowed to fish here because I said so.
Oh. Fuck.
You don't even know how to fish.
And the fact that she's like, oh, why is my daughter so scared of me? Why is she avoiding me? Picks up the phone and her mother and sisters are coming and she's scared shitless. And I'm just like, yeah.
Yeah, I do think when the rest of the family comes, like, that moment could have been really great, but I feel like they over-sensationalized it too much.
Not to mention, they're the majority of the Chinese culture in this movie, are they not?
I mean, there's a diverse cast in Toronto, very diverse. It's like everyone gets along and racism doesn't exist in this city.
Because post-2000s Disney gotta pretend like...
Everything is awesome, everything is cool, and we're part of the team.
I got no problem with characters not addressing race. That's what I want more often, but this is not how you do it. And on top of that... The Chinese culture in this movie, for one, isn't actually in the movie that much outside of the Red Panda curse.
There's a moment where they have to perform a certain ceremony for certain things, and that moment addresses a lot of it, and it addresses a lot of her sort of emotional anger and deals with the relationship between them, and wraps it up in a nice little bow, so to speak. But I think if it's going to be a small movie, I think it needs to be less characters. I think you could have one friend she confides in. You have just her and her mother. It needs to be a smaller film if this is your scale. I think there's too much happening to make this fully relatable. I think one friend, one mother, and then that way you can introduce the old culture, the new culture, and it's not so bloated as this movie appears to be.
Yeah, because they don't really go into the old or new culture. If anything...
They just sort of brush it over.
And the stuff that they go into full detail on, is it just me, or was it a little more mean-spirited than it was actually uplifting or informative?
I mean, when the dad got to be the panda in the box costume, that was fun.
I wouldn't categorize that as
I think the whole
culture,
movie
but
could have
okay.
taken place in the temple that they run as a family. I think it could have all taken place in that, and at one scene at school with her mother. It could have been an hour-long conversation with her mother about this. There could have been a lot going on.
And there could have been more scenes of her hanging out with her friends, trying to
categorize what happens there
and help her control the powers.
But if you do a small character piece, you have to keep it small. You can't have a big cast. You can't have a big setting.
The choices of how they decide to have the panda interact with the world was so ridiculous. And there are certain metaphors that people are giving major praise towards this movie, that allegedly this movie is about puberty, seeing as how the red panda is technically a biological change and she happens to be 13 years old. Not to mention, there are moments where she has these really weird, are they sexual fantasies where she imagines four towns' heads on flowers, or imagines them as...
she's learning to be appreciated, too attractive to other human beings.
Yeah, because...
But that's my question. What mother would see you do something like this and take that embarrassing thing to school to show everyone? No one would do that.
No.
It's very over-exaggerated, but it's not funny over-exaggerated. It's not like bringing the character down humility ever. The mother's just constantly right. And they never really address that she's wrong except for a brief moment. And then like, oh no, she's right again because she's the mother.
And they give her no redeeming qualities whatsoever in order to make you at least understand where she's coming from. I know they give that whole thing where, yeah, she had a fight with her mom because her mom, like, expects her to be perfect and she doesn't live up to her expectations. But it's just like, what expectations? Like, what are you talking about? That could fucking mean anything. You have to be specific. You can't just say, oh, I had a fight with my mom and we don't understand each other. That's not enough.
I think if you're going to discuss this, and we are by no means related to the culture, you should dive deep into the culture so a average fan could come in and watch this. But if you were part of the culture, you would go in and get a lot more out of this than us.
Well, here's the thing.
It should be approachable, but deep.
Well, here's the thing. The culture that they show in this movie, anyone can understand. I mean, May and her mother going to this one temple and praying in front of that. Like, it doesn't matter what religion you are. You can identify with that. And one guy did get in trouble for saying that making her Chinese was limiting to the audience, which I really don't understand.
No, I don't think so. I just think the characters should be more well developed in the film. If you're going to write a film, and this is how you write a film, people, regardless of who you are, no matter how long you've been writing, no matter what you're writing, no matter when you're writing, characters dictate the story. The story does not dictate the characters. If the story comes first, your characters have no character development, they're unrelatable, you can't connect to them, and then you get MCU, where it's fun, but the characters are nothing. Your characters should be driven. Take, for example, Booksmart, Sorry to Bother You, anything in those veins. Even in Inside Out, the character dictates the story. In Incredibles, Mr. Incredible's marriage dictates the story. The characters tell us what should happen, not the story telling what the characters should do.
And for a good chunk of this movie, it's not even about May trying to stand up to her mother. It's about her trying to raise money for
to go to a concert.
A concert, which she does in probably one of the most, if not the most cringeworthy things I've ever seen in Pixar. There are students who find out about May, and for whatever reason, none of them accidentally tell their parents. None of them share these photos on social media or anything, because it's 2002. Like, I get that aspect of it where the word of mouth doesn't go that far, but it's fucking Toronto. There are millions of people within this city.
You would see it online.
People were going to find out about this. Nobody stole their video camera and stole the footage or anything like that.
The news had it on TV.
The news showed them. And also,
Kung Fu Panda 4 had a panda.
Not to mention, in order to raise money for the concert, she sells pictures of herself. She gets merchandise that they magically made out of nowhere. She accepts money to go to birthday parties.
Do you like movies about narcissistic furries? We've got you covered.
She accepts money from boys she doesn't even like and are kind of assholes, accepts money to go to birthday parties, and lets them ride her.
Well, that's a choice.
And look, it might not be as dirty a metaphor as I'm making it out to be, but they make it so fucking easy.
I think we're overanalyzing a kid's movie.
Yeah, I'm just sitting there and I'm like...
we're looking way too deep into this, honestly.
I'm just sitting there and I'm like, is she is she supposed to be prostituting herself? Because, like, they're making it so easy to see it that way. I'm pretty sure...
I didn't even think about that, honestly.
Well, when it was selling pictures of herself for money, I just sat there and if my mom wasn't sitting next to me having breakfast, I would have just screamed, "What? Like, what?" And yeah, 13, still figuring shit out. I get that. But, like, straight-A students should know not to sell pictures of themselves for money.
Especially on the internet.
At least not to let a boy ride you.
Well, you know, we've dug deep into this.
Yeah, look, long story short, we saw a guy use his dick as a beehive. We saw a guy get his dick crushed by a pogo stick.
That was painful.
And that was somehow less...
jackass.
And that was somehow less awkward to sift through.
You know, the Godzilla one was a lot less awkward.
Yeah, because for one... It was true advertising. They didn't leave out the pubescent... They didn't leave out the pubescent period metaphors in the trailers.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think there's what the director wanted to do and what the studio wanted to do. And I think that the director wanted to keep it really small, but the studio wanted to make it big and fantastical like Pixar does to keep to a formula so people like it.
Yeah, and she claims that they were totally on board with the puberty moments, which doesn't surprise me.
I think they should have done more on that. I think they really should have gone full on that plot.
There was a puberty moment in Incredibles 2. So, like, it's not
Baby
like
Jack
they can't talk about it.
Incredibles 2 was the best part.
Not that
the best
part.
part versus Raccoon. That's great.
Not that part.
That was great, though. But I like that
I know,
part.
but I'm talking about that part where Violet freaks out and Dash just goes, "Dad, is Violet experiencing adolescence?" Like, that was a funny joke. And, yeah, if the puberty and the period stuff wasn't used as a punchline and was actually examined, then that would be okay. But like I said, because you can't portray sexual fantasies in a Disney movie, they just have her fantasize about the Barbie doll boys as mermen, because...
Yeah, that was weird.
Or
I felt like I was watching a weirder version of Luca, but Luca's nice. I like Luca.
Yeah,
Luca's lovely.
Luca understood how to be low stakes.
Luca was great.
It was amazing.
Reminded
It
me
had
of like
likable characters.
Children Ghibli movie.
It had brisk pace. It knew how to rip off anime by paying homage to it. It had great voice acting. It had great messages. Whether it did it on purpose or not, because some people are really upset about it, it does the sexual identity metaphor a hell of a lot better than this.
It's also subtler.
Much more subtler. It had subtlety. Like, yes, there's good voice acting in Turning Red. Yes, there's technically good animation.
I don't know. I don't love the animation. I don't love Pixar's animation as of late. It's not my favorite.
But, I mean, the characters are not characters. They're stereotypes, except for May. And even then... she still fits the straight-A stereotype without even really offering anything new. The themes are just mentioned. They're not explored. And I don't understand why people are really hiding behind that.
Well, it's the internet. You either love or hate every movie, and if you don't like the movie, you hate the person who loves it. That's how the internet works.
Yeah.
There's gonna be, like, tons of trolls in the comment telling you what's what, and then, like, someone's gonna respond to that, and they'll be like, no, you're wrong, and you're wrong, and you're wrong.
I don't care.
Then it's gonna lead to a long argument. But at the end of the day, honestly, I thought it was fine. I don't care that much, and it's just a movie, so we should chill. Look at you, internet. It's
a Pixar movie where the hero saves the day by twerking in front of her mother and saying, "My panda, my choice." That's a fucking line in this movie. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah, I mean, they said I rebel in Rogue One trailer, so whatever.
Yeah, well. I'm going to give Turning Red a 2 out of 5.
I give Turning Red a 3 out of 5. I think it was alright. I just don't care that much. I just like the panda bits. I think the panda stuff was funny and make a better short, and maybe even a cute little 5-minute TV show about the adventures of being able to turn into a panda.
If there was anything like magical or awe-inspiring, or if there was even like a 5-minute sequence of her just roaming Toronto in a pleasant way, like walking around those parks.
Wait, could we get the raccoon from Incredibles 2 to fight the panda with Jack Jack?
No.
Okay, that'd be dope.
Too bad. Well, guys, thank you for sticking through me on this one. Feel free to disagree with us on this.
That's okay. I'm glad people liked it, you know? Everyone's got to like their things. It's cool.
Yeah, there's so many defenses people are using about this that are really cheap and redundant. But
And I will defend UHF until I die.
I know you will. But in any case, let us know in the comments below what you thought of Turning Red, why you liked it, why you might be on our side about this. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this.
It's just chaos.
I turned into you at certain points.
Yeah, you just did a Josh rant there. You're like, today, I am Josh.
Why do you think I invited you into this?
Yeah, you even did like the bulging eye thing I do.
Yeah.
It was great. It was great.
I had to do it with
I gotta get a longer beard so I can do a good Tyler imitation.
Maybe. But in any case, let us know in the comments below. Feel free to check out Josh's channel. Click the link in the description below. We're going to be...
enjoy!
Very soon, we're going to be having reviews up for the entire Chronicles of Narnia trilogy, along with a Schmodown react video that might serve as our audition.
The Inglorious One!
That might serve as our introduction / audition to Schmodown, because honestly, now that they're taking submissions, I might actually want to.
You got the knowledge, and I got the loudness.
Yes, you do.
Let's be honest. I'm obnoxious sometimes.
Feel free to like, subscribe, and check out my other reviews on his channel, as well as his brand new channel, PB&J.
PB&J!
Take care, everybody.
Bye-bye. Hello.